Hello everyone, my name is Ben Swanson and this is the first video I've made and I'm hopefully going to make a few more. I just wanted to talk a little bit about my recent episode that I had in regards to an aortic dissection. I assume if you're watching this video that's probably something you're familiar with. I hope if it is you or whoever that you're doing well. It's something I'd never heard of up until 3 weeks ago when I experienced a horrible feeling in my chest while I was driving. My left arm started to lose control and start flailing. I was able to pull over, call 911. Sounded like a heart attack. Everything, the classic symptoms, chest pain, headache, and then pain or something in my left arm. So the EMTs got there and naturally gave me a bunch of heart attack medications just in case. They didn't really know what was wrong. They thought maybe I did have a heart attack. In fact, they asked me if I wanted to go to the hospital or not. And by this time, I was actually still had some pain in my chest, but it was manageable. And I was not one to go to the doctor very often. In fact, I would never go to the doctor unless there was something very bad happening. But this time I said to myself, you know what? Yeah, let's go to the hospital. That was pretty weird. Got to the hospital. They drew some blood. They took me for, I believe it was an MRI, one of the machines they stick you in and scan my chest. Apparently that's when they saw a big bubble, essentially in my aortic valve, and everybody got real quiet. The hospital I was at did not have the staff to fix this problem, and apparently this was life and death. They told me to just stay calm and that they would be giving me a helicopter ride to one of the hospitals nearby just once they got the green light that the hospital would take me to, decide which one they were going to take me to. So they took me to the surgical room. It was about a 17-minute helicopter ride. They told me that this was very, very serious and that required emergency surgery. Again, I was pretty calm. I thought, oh gosh, this sucks. And then I made it all the way to the hospital up the 17-minute ride. It was something straight out of a movie. They, wheeled me into this big, huge surgical room with these lights. About 10 people just standing around with their arms crossed and just said, Ben, we have to do this now. We're going to give you we just have to do this real fast. They said, Ben, what you have is a Type A aortic dissection. A lot of people don't make it this far. They die on the spot. We need to let you know that you have about a 1 in 5 chance of dying on the operating table that we're about to put you on. They did say that that's worldwide and that the odds of me dying were better because of the hospital I was at, the doctors and the team treating me, but they had to tell me that. And they said that, it was either that or I was about to die. They said they might actually do it in the room I was in rather than take me down the hallway to the actual operating room. That's how urgent it was. And apparently people were pretty surprised that I was still alive, even from the helicopter ride. So obviously I said, yes, let's do it. I mean, if you do nothing, I die, right? So they cut me open, and basically, here's my scar. Stand up a little bit, but yeah. Turns out that I had a bicuspid valve in my aorta, which apparently is the most common heart congenital defect you can have, and it was never detected. I'm 45 years old. I consider myself to be in pretty good health and good shape now. Don't have high blood pressure, don't take any medications, I work out every day. But I also told them that I've been doing the ketogenic diet, and more recently I've been doing the carnivore diet, where essentially for the last several weeks, all I ate is steak, eggs, and butter. Essentially, that's all I've been eating, and I've never felt better. My surgeon, who saved my life, he was inside me. He saw my veins, he saw my heart, he saw my arteries, he saw everything with his own eyes. Said, Ben, he goes, this is strictly because of the way you were born. He said this was going to happen no matter what. And he said the fact that I'm alive is amazing. And he even said that don't ever let anyone tell you that the carnivore diet is bad. Now, I've pretty much had convinced myself of this already. I've been big on experimenting on my body. I take my blood, I check different things. So was already convinced that I was doing the right thing. Now, to have a world-renowned cardiac surgeon tell me that as well just gave me the ultimate validation. And I'm going to continue doing the carnivore diet. I'm 3 weeks out right now. Honestly, I felt great that I could go back to doing, except lifting things, I could go back to doing what I normally do, a week or two after the surgery, which the doctors and everybody are amazed, and they're telling me, like, Ben, relax, you don't have to, you need to relax. But it's not because of my heart. He said my arteries were perfectly clear. He said they look just as good as a 20-year-old athlete's. There's no sign of plaque. There's no sign of cholesterol buildup. My heart is extremely healthy. The cause of this was there's that bicuspid valve where there should be a tricuspid valve. And after 45 years of the valve essentially opening and closing like this versus, all three, it was pushing a lot of blood, basically blasting the side of the wall of my artery, like a pressure hose for 45 years, and eventually it wears a hole in there, and the blood goes behind one of the layers of the artery where it blows up essentially like a balloon. A lot of people die right there on the spot. Apparently, it'll blow up and it'll go all the way down my aorta, and I'm not sure the terminology, but apparently it just blew up to the size, they said, about a coffee cup, the top of a coffee cup. That's how big the bubble was. But it stopped. It stopped right there. It didn't continue down. And he said that is why I didn't die. And it didn't burst or rupture. If it did, I wouldn't be here today. But he also asked me to never let anyone tell you different about the carnivore diet. And so I asked him, I said, well, why don't you tell everyone this? And even the instructions that I got from the doctor on what to eat, what not to eat, is not carnivore or keto. It actually says eat healthy grains and complex carbohydrates and things like that. And I said, that's not carnivore or keto. Like, why give instructions to someone like this? And he said, Ben, he goes, we can't tell people stuff until there's thousands and thousands of tests to back up what we're saying. And he said, I've seen inside people. I've seen people young that have heart attacks and die. And then I see elderly people who are healthy as an ox, or they have some other congenital defect that's not within their control, and they're there for some other reason. And the more and more they look at things, the more and more they're realizing that the fat and the cholesterol that go along with red meat and other high fat diets isn't the problem. It's the carbs. And I have done so much research before all this happened, and I honestly thought that when this happened to me, I said, oh God, here it is. Here's all my friends and all my coworkers are going to tell me, see, Ben, we told you that's a bad diet to be on. Because they do. They tell me, they're like, Ben, that can't be good for you. I mean, I'm talking nurses and nutritionalists that I work with tell me that's not good, that's not good. And the more and more I do the research and the more and more that I experimented on my own body, I disagree. I am not a doctor by any means. I don't even work in the medical field. But I can't discount what's happened to me as far as my focus, my acuity, what my now surgeon has told me. And my recovery is, so today is exactly 22 days from the time I almost died. 22 days. I haven't even seen the surgeon for a follow-up visit yet. That's not for another 11 days. And I feel fine. I mean, besides my chest being sore from actually having my chest cracked open, I feel great, actually. I feel fine. And I have gone back to eating just the carnivore diet. I've had steak and eggs, and I'll show you a picture of my dinner. But I wanted to start this channel, or at least this series of videos, because I just feel like it's necessary to get that out there, and I know I'm going to catch a lot of heat. I'm going to catch a lot of people telling me I'm crazy and telling me that, the advice or my opinion is going to hurt people or kill people, and I don't want that to happen. I just feel like I need to pass along the information that I've discovered. And I've heard a lot of this over the years because, as I said, I've been keto for probably 3 years. Once every couple of months, I'll have a cheat day. A couple of months. My girlfriend and I will go out and, we'll have sushi, which has rice in it. And I'm not allowed to have rice on the ketogenic or the carnivore diet. But for the most part, I've been good at sticking to it. Just recently, over the last 2 months, have I switched to extreme keto, which is, basically carnivore. And I've just noticed the effects in my mental acuity and my health and my waistline just getting better and better. And I just can't discount the fact that I just had this happen to me. I just had this information given to me as far as my blood panels. Everything is where it's supposed to be. My arteries are clear. If it wasn't for this congenital defect, thank you, Dad, for giving me this, everything else is great. The doctors and nurses were asking, they're like, you look so healthy. Why are you even here? And they once they find out about the congenital defect, they say, oh, that makes sense. And they said, but otherwise, Ben, whatever you're doing is working. And I just find that, so concerning that the people in the medical field, at least some of them, not all, but some of them, know that this works. And some of them, besides my surgeon and some of the other doctors and nurses that came to talk to me, they would notice that when I was ordering my food, even in the hospital, I was ordering ketogenic foods, so green vegetables, meat, no breads, no pastas, no rice, no sugar. And they noticed that, and so that would strike up the conversation. They're like, Ben, how come you got that burger and you took off the bun and you're just eating the burger? You're eating fat. You're eating all this fat. You just had, essentially heart surgery. And then, of course, I would go through and explain everything. And some of them agreed with me, and they said that's awesome. And some of them even admitted that they do it themselves or have done it, but they found it hard to stick to, which it is. It's very hard to stick to. But the fact that it's gaining more and more popularity and more people are coming to understanding, I think to not put out this information, maybe a handful of people will follow along, maybe they won't, but I truly believe, and I'm going to talk more about this in future videos, that I think carbohydrates in all its forms are bad. I do not believe we are meant to consume them. And I know that's going to sound crazy because I know a lot of people out there are saying, what are you talking about, Ben? That's your primary fuel source. And I have what I believe is some evidence or proof that it is not our primary. It was not meant to be our primary source of energy. And I think I have some studies and some facts that happened to me that I can, cite. And I know a lot of people, even if they agree that, okay, Ben, this is obviously working for you, but it doesn't work for me, or it doesn't work for everybody, and that's because everyone is different. I agree with that to a point. Everyone is obviously different, but on the other hand, there are some things that we are not different in. And, it's easily provable that, there's certain things we're not different about. My blood is red. If someone came up to me and said, well, Ben, that's just you. Maybe not everyone's blood is red because we're all different. That would be absurd. Same thing for I breathe oxygen. Well, Ben, you breathe oxygen, but we're all different. That's absurd as well. We all breathe oxygen. All of our blood is red. That is a fact of being human. And as such, I also believe that the way our bodies metabolize food, as far as the best way to do it, is the same as well. And I think anyone who said they've tried this diet before and it doesn't work, they've gained weight, I truly believe they weren't doing it correctly. Because I've actually seen that. I have friends who have tried to follow along the diet, and they have told me, what they're doing, and after a week or two, they say, Ben, I've gained weight. I'm gaining weight, and this just isn't working for me. And then when I, ask them, well, what are you eating? Give me some feedback here. They tell me, and I find out that, they weren't following it correctly. They say, well, no, but I increase my meat, I increase my protein, and yeah, at the end of the day, I did have a Twinkie, but it was just one Twinkie. And I said, well, there's your problem. I'm like, that you can't do that. That turns off all the cool stuff your body does when it's in ketosis. And it takes, half a day for you to get back into that. Everything you did for that day was basically washed away by that. But to that person, they would say, no, Ben, I tried it and it didn't work. You didn't try it properly. And I found that to be true for many, many, many cases. Now, are there people who say I can't digest red meat and I can't do this, I can't do that? My first thing I would say is, of course, that's true. But I would also say that perhaps the condition you have was brought on by the carbohydrate intake of your entire life and potentially caused this. I'm sure there are anomalies where people were born, just like my heart valve, just born different. But I believe those are that's a very small percentage of people out there. And I do understand that when people do this diet, there is a withdrawal period of carbohydrates, no different than and anyone who's watching that's had an addiction will understand this. When you quit anything that's bad for you, you will go through withdrawal symptoms, just like carbohydrates. Many years ago, I smoked, I drank, which is probably part of the reason that, this happened, and I didn't just live my whole days, with this bicuspid valve, because I was unhealthy a long time ago. And I will tell you, when you quit those things, when you quit nicotine or alcohol or anything that's addictive, it sucks. I mean, you're going to go through horrible, you're going to sweat, you're going to have headaches, you're going to have pain. It's bad. But that's something you have to go through. And I will say that carbs are no different. When I first gave them up, same symptoms as when I gave up smoking and drinking. Headaches, irritability, sweating, pain, like physical pain in my body, my stomach, my chest, my joints. But eventually, after that got out, God, the feelings, the good feelings, I can't even describe. I didn't know that humans were supposed to feel this good. Just if anybody who happens to see this, might be nobody, it might hopefully be some extra people. I'm going to make some more videos. I'm going to talk about my surgery a little bit more, my post-op surgery or my post-op follow-ups and what happened. And I do want to talk about my diet, my lifestyle, my blood work. I'll put up my blood tests to show everybody what happened. I have them from the day that my aortic dissection occurred. But yeah, hopefully someone finds this information useful. I know there are people out there that are already doing this diet, and there are people that aren't big fans of it. But I'm going to give you my knowledge, my experience. Let me know what you think. If there's any questions you have specifically about anything, just drop a comment or two. But yeah, hopefully there'll be a little bit of interest out there. And thanks a lot for watching.